Next on the Center County Report, turning Beaver Stadium blue this weekend for a very serious cause. And you see them everywhere. We'll give you the story behind these popular signs all over State College. The Center County Report starts now. Welcome to the Center County Report. I'm Jordan Pruitt.
And I'm Gina Figali. The issue of child abuse will again be front and center at Penn State this weekend. Reporter Kevin Gallagher says tomorrow's Blue Out football game goes far and beyond wearing blue to the game.
Here at Nittanyville, students wait for tomorrow's matchup with the Temple Owls. But what'll catch everyone's attention will be the blue in the stands instead of on the field.
We support the victims of child abuse. People don't think that we care here, and it's good to show people in other parts of the country that we actually do care at this university and we're not just a few people that messed up.
The Blue Out organization began as a response to the Jerry Sandusky scandal last November. The group came up with the Blue Out idea just 6 days before the Penn State-Nebraska game. Stuart Shapiro, one of the founders of Blue Out Penn State, says he's looking forward to this year's event.
I'm most looking forward to really setting things in place to continue this as an annual tradition next year. We have had the time versus the 6 days we had last year to set up partnerships with Penn State and the athletics department.
On Saturday, students will be given blue ribbons such as this one to commemorate the prevention of child sexual abuse. But what can the Blue Out do to prevent any such thing from occurring? I asked Laura March, one of the Blue Out organizers, what her goal is for this weekend.
The Blue Out's main, reason for existing is to bring support and awareness for child abuse prevention. And we do that through spreading educational materials about spotting sexual abuse and what to do if you suspect something's happening.
Penn State's Blue Out will raise child abuse prevention awareness not only here, but in front of a national TV audience. In State College, Kevin Gallagher for the Center County Report.
The 2012 Blue Out will partner with the Pennsylvania Coalition Against Rape. For more information, you could visit their website, pcar.org.
Bill O'Brien picked up his first win as head football coach at Penn State last week. Sports reporter Jeff Lowe is back at Beaver Stadium this week. Campers are gearing up for the game against Temple. Jeff, how important is this Blue Out for the organization?
Well, Jordan, there was the rumor this summer that Penn State may receive the death penalty, and Stuart Shapiro of Blue Out Penn State told me he was very happy, of course, to have Penn State football still around because the platform of Penn State football is such a great platform to promote things on.
Well, one of the great things about football at Penn State is that it really unites the Penn State community, students, faculty, town residents, alumni, and knowing that we want to get out the message of child abuse prevention to as many people as possible, it really helps that football will bring everyone together for a day to talk about it.
Students out here in Nittanyville continue to really embrace the whole Blue Out thing. They'll of course be joining the rest of the stadium by wearing blue t-shirts or whatever they have blue in the stadium on Saturday. And they're handing out ribbons here, blue ribbons like they did last year for the Nebraska campout, which is also a Blue Out in November. The buzz here is even greater than it was last week, guys, coming off the win against Navy. There's more campers. They have 390 now, just under 400, and they have 53 tents, which is 20 plus more than they had last week. And with an in-state opponent like Temple coming in, a 3:30 kick time, which is very convenient for students, and the Blue Out, there's a lot of great things going on here this weekend and on Saturday, and it's really starting to get the fan base quite excited again. Back to you guys in the studio.
Penn State administrators faced some tough questions this week from students. Jeremy Kahn is here in studio. Jeremy?
Gina, since the Sandusky scandal broke almost a year ago, there's been a noticeable increase in communication between Penn State's administration and students. Everything from email updates to town hall forums like the one on Wednesday, where students from all Commonwealth campuses had the chance to ask questions of top administrators. Those questions ranged from facilities to green initiatives, but most focused on the Sandusky scandal, the handling of the free report, and the NCAA sanctions. This was the third forum in the past 10 months held in the Hub Robeson Center. Some students we talked with weren't happy with the panel's responses, but most said the interaction was informative.
I actually found it very vibrant. It was good to see all the students active and out there, and excited for once, instead of the apathy we usually see.
Penn State's president told us he feels these forums are constructive.
We'll have a town hall meeting every semester, as long as I'm president. and we'll continue to try to inform our students about what's going on, to answer their questions. Our students are why we're here, and they're our future, so it's important that we continue to communicate with them on a regular basis.
The forum lasted about 2 hours, and the next one will be sometime during the spring semester. Jordan, back to you.
Thanks, Jeremy. Penn State students are bracing for the announcement of tuition increases for the next school year. An important factor will be the university's appropriations from the state. President Rodney Erickson and the Committee on Finance, Business, and Capital Planning recommended submitting a request for $289.5 million to the legislature for the next fiscal year. That's a $10.6 million increase. Because state appropriations for this year dodged cuts, this year's tuition only increased 2.9% for University Park students and 1.9% for Commonwealth campus students. This past school year saw the lowest tuition increase in 35 years for the university.
The Facilities Fee Advisory Committee has decided the McCorn Auditorium and the Sarney Tennis Facility will not be renovated. $30 million have been raised from the student facilities fee since 2008. Each student pays $112 per semester, and this money is put towards a non-academic space.
Students $30 million. The rest of that funding, which was $35 million that the athletic department had, wasn't going to pay the way. So students are now going to consider some other options for the use of the $30 million.
Some of the other options can be a hub expansion or the renovations to the intramural building.
There's a new trend among local businesses in State College. Store windows are decked out in blue and white, but this time it's for a different reason. Kat Janesko has more on what this means for the community.
If you've recently been in the downtown State College area, you've probably seen local businesses with these signs displayed in their windows. After recent sanctions were placed against the Penn State football team, stores have put the signs up as a way to show their ongoing support for Penn State football, and now for the university's academics too. Local business owner Art Fine is just one person who displayed these signs in his store.
Penn State is a fine academic institution. Without question that we would put those signs in our windows.
Some business owners were left questioning where these new signs came from. 2010 Penn State grad Eric Davidson is just one of the minds behind this movement. His goal? To bring the Penn State community closer together.
Penn State's a lot of things. I mean, it's so hard to define with how much there is here. That's important for the community to do things that allow us to heal, and a lot of times that's being able to openly celebrate things.
McClanahan's has just started its own trend by creating a new Penn State football sign. The same proud to support Penn State football slogan, but this time with the colors reversed. Manager Jennifer Schock is proud of all of the efforts to maintain the Penn State spirit.
Come see the community, to come see the university. Do some research. Don't just go by what the media is saying about us. It's like fantastic, awesome. I just think it's a wonderful place to be.
In State College, I'm Kat Janesko for the Center County Report.
Speaking of signs, a billboard just went up in downtown State College focused on the late Joe Paterno. The sign is causing a buzz around the Penn State community. The Pro Paterno sign near the intersection of Pew Street and Beaver Avenue was paid for by Penn Staters Responsible Stewardship. The group has no affiliation with the university and is composed of alumni who have critical of the Board of Trustees.
Bellefonte's Hotel Dodi will have to be torn down after it was badly damaged in a fire on September 9th. A structural engineer determined that there is extensive fire damage, including the roof collapsing onto the 3rd floor. This damage is so severe that the cost of the repair is too much. As for the Garmin Opera House Theater, there is still hope that they can restore the building. The borough is paying to fix the roof that collapsed. Unfortunately, Hotel Dodi's fate of being rebuilt is yet unknown.
Coming up, the students at Penn State got a special visit as their way to energize the student population for the upcoming election.
The fate of Pennsylvania's new voter ID law is still up in the air after going to the state Supreme Court. The law is under appeal and will land back in court next Tuesday after the High Court ordered another review. With less than a month and a half before the election day, some voters are unsure whether they'll be able to get the needed identification to vote. They could be turned away at the polling booths if they don't produce the proper ID. State officials hope that they can get the word out early enough to accommodate all applicants.
Music, politics, and free stuff, an uncommon combination on college campus. Allie Ingersoll has the story on what brought these things together.
Rock the Vote visited Penn State Wednesday to spread awareness about the youth vote, register new voters, and literally rock out.
We are Penn State Rock the Vote 2012.
The campus tour began at the Republican National Convention in August and specifically stopped at Penn State to let students know how voting has changed for them this year.
In particular for Pennsylvania voters, the rules have changed and it's different, and they're going to now need an identification to head to the polls.
Rock the Vote has a goal of 1.5 million registered voters by the end of their journey, and they're doing it by making it simple. Students could come right here and register to vote to be ready for November 6th. As an incentive, those who registered receive free tickets to a concert featuring Jack Johnson and G-Love. 2,500 students enjoyed the show, but whether they'll actually show up to the polls remains in question.
I would say that probably, I would say half of them will. I would be very surprised if more than 70% of them did. I think they're more so registering out of, out of it being here.
The event at Penn State marked the end of the first leg of their trip, and after spending the day on campus, there were just over 400,000 new voters registered through Rock the Vote. In University Park, I'm Allie Ingersoll for the Center County Report.
The deadline to register to vote is October 3rd.
The State College Borough Council is discussing a pair of new bills that would tighten up laws on underage drinking and alcohol-related crimes. The bills were both passed in June by the Senate, but are now under review by the State House Judiciary Committee. State College Borough Manager Tom Fontaine says these bills will result in higher fines.
One bill would increase the maximum fine for underage and other criminal offenses involving alcohol to $1,000. The penalties and fines have not been raised since the 1970s, and so this would increase the maximum fine to $1,000.
The second bill ensures that a $100 fine will be given to anyone who commits an alcohol-related offense in a college town. State College currently pays about $3 million in a year for costs related to alcohol consumption.
What if there was a smartphone application that had the ability to notify emergency personnel using your natural human behaviors, all while notifying your friends and family that you might be in danger? Well, that's what creators at Kleinstein Development have released. Their app, Lifeline Response, out this week, features Intel technology that will notify the Lifeline 24-hour response center. It will sound an alarm when your finger is removed from the phone's screen. Trained emergency response professionals will assess your situation, see your real-time GPS location, and notify 911. As that happens, your 7 Lifeline contacts are notified with your exact location and the number for the 911 center closest to you. This app can be purchased at Apple's App Store and Google Play for $1.99, and the safety service comes with a $21.99 annual subscription fee. You can see a demonstration of the Lifeline website at our website, centercountyreport.com.
Fall weather means fewer bugs in our area, but this year experts say risk of potentially deadly disease is still sticking around. Reporter Adrian DiPiazza talked with a Center County mosquito trapper.
You may feel the cool breeze sweeping through Center County, but there's also that unmistakable itch of a mosquito biting. And this year, the risk of mosquitoes giving you West Nile virus is higher than ever.
Now in Center County, we have about 50 positive samples, mosquito samples. And last year we had 10. That's about the most the county has seen over the years.
Center County mosquito surveillance and control expert Albert Levon sets up and monitors these traps nearly every 24 hours. The traps are designed to attract mosquitoes with dirty water and then suck them up using a fan. Levon typically sets the traps in swampy rural areas, but this year he says the infected mosquitoes have spread much farther.
Despite common belief, areas like this urban neighborhood are actually more susceptible to breeding mosquitoes with West Nile virus. And that's because of areas like this storm drain. So residents in these neighborhoods are encouraged to make sure that there's no standing water whatsoever on their property.
Places around the typical home like gutters, buckets, and window wells are hotbeds for mosquito breeding. Kristen Koshko says the idea of West Nile virus can be a little scary, especially as a parent.
With all the cases that have been in Center County this year, it has been worrisome. So we have been doing, the extra bug spray.
While only one person has died from West Nile in Pennsylvania, 20 people are confirmed to have the virus. One of them a resident here in Center County. In State College, I'm Adrian DiPiazza for the Center County Report.
Centre County officials advise you to wear bug spray until the end of October, which is usually when the West Nile virus no longer poses a threat.
And of course, we won't totally see the risk of things like West Nile virus go away until we get our first hard frost. We got close this past week. 37 degrees was a morning low temperature yesterday at the University Park Airport. Not quite there, but close enough. Fall's certainly getting closer. Today, the big story is a few hit and miss showers that will be moving through. That will be the story again on Saturday, so the football game may be briefly wet. Of course, Saturday also marks the beginning of autumn, and that too will usher in some much cooler temperatures for the second half of the weekend. Right now, though, in State College, temperatures are hovering in the 60s, 66 degrees in fact. Clouds sort of mixing in with the sunshine, and you'll notice those increase as we go through the afternoon. Temperatures today bound for about 72 degrees. We started off at 53, so overall still pretty pleasant for the last full day of summer. But as we switch over to the national radar picture, you'll notice a little spin up here in the upper Midwest, rotating some showers around. Some of these showers will get pinwheeled towards us, and that's why we'll have a hit or miss shower today and again tomorrow. Not an all-day washout either day, just a brief chance of getting wet. So at the football game, if you're under a tent for tailgating, I think you'll be just fine. Today, though, again, we're largely in the 70s, 74 in Bellefonte, 73 in Center Hall, and that is pretty uniform around the area as well. Again, clouds thickening up with a couple of rain showers, but they'll be brief. The next 7 days will show the cool down after we get through Saturday. Sunday features a high temperature only reaching 63 degrees. And notice we'll stay in the 60s for the rest of the week. The next chance of showers doesn't arrive until we get towards Wednesday. Have a wonderful weekend.
Next in sports, Team USA fencer and Penn Stater Miles Chamley Watson talks about his trip to the White House and his visit with President Barack Obama. Few things have changed sports quite like Title IX has, the federal law that bans gender discrimination in federally funded schools. The landmark law was a major topic of a meeting here this week on campus. Eric Feinstein has the report.
Penn State has earned a strong reputation for success in men's and women's athletics over the years. But it wasn't until the 60s and 70s that Nittany Lion women got a chance to compete at the varsity level thanks to Title IX. During this panel discussion at the All Sports Museum, a former women's athletic administrator said female athletes at Penn State weren't satisfied with just playing against themselves.
They wanted to be on their own Penn State team. This led them to ask the question, why don't we have a varsity sports program?
Penn State now fields 14 women's sports teams. The Lady Lions have won 48 regular season Big Ten titles, compared to 12 by men's teams.
Women in intercollegiate athletics have made great strides since Title IX was passed, but as the panel in the building behind me discussed, there is still work to be done.
One expert says 6 times as many women play collegiate sports today as in 1972. Current Penn State women's basketball coach Coquise Washington says the biggest issue facing women's athletics in the future is not enough women in leadership positions.
But I do think more women in administration is going to be key.
The text of Title IX itself contains just 37 words. Its impact on gender equality in sports, though, is beyond what anyone could have imagined. In University Park, I'm Eric Feinstein for the Centre County Report.
Obviously, Coquise Washington is a big figurehead on campus for Penn State athletics, and the university awarded her with a big contract extension because of her successes with women's basketball. The contract is for 5 years, and it's worth roughly $3.5 million. And also, success on campus blossomed into a spot on the United States Olympic fencing team for Miles Chamley Watson. The Nittany Lion fencing national champion visited the White House recently with his fellow Team USA members. Chamley Watson told me about his experience and his trip to 1600 Pennsylvania Ave.
It was an amazing experience. You know, I got to see him 2 years ago when we won national championships here, so it was awesome to go back there. And you know, we actually got a chance to talk to President Obama, the First Lady, and Joe Biden. So it wasn't just an in-and-out trip. It was awesome. We got to talk to them and crack some jokes, and it was an amazing time. We got an actual tour. We got to see the Red Room and a bunch of stuff that most people can't see. So it was an amazing experience to not only go there but to go inside. It was awesome. Yeah, I mean, I got to see some of my friends, Monte Mitchell. A bunch of my friends on the track team. Josh Mance, Megan Hodge was here. So it was great to see them all. I got a lot of friends over there, so it was good to see them. We went out for a bit in DC. It was just, an awesome time.
Chamley Watson's stories from London are quite outstanding, and you can see the full interview that I had with him at commedia.psu.edu. Now in the women's volleyball, where Penn State is gearing up to take on Iowa this weekend, actually Saturday night at Rec Hall. They're coming off a big win against 3-ranked Nebraska on Wednesday night. Penn State's 4-set comeback against the Cornhuskers was a huge part of their victory. They were down 9-1 before going on an 8-0 run to tie the game at 9. The Nittany Lions eventually went on to clinch this match with that 4-set victory of a score 26-24. Ariel Scott led the charge for the team with 23 kills, while Micah Hancock, the sophomore, had 55 assists. Penn State improves to 11-1 on the year and will most likely jump Nebraska in the polls. But first comes their matchup against Iowa, which will start at 8 o'clock on Saturday at Rec Hall. And finally, one more team this week on campus has a big Big Ten matchup, and that is men's soccer. They open up Big Ten play in Madison, Wisconsin tonight at 8:30 against the Wisconsin Badgers. The Nittany Lions are 5-1-1 on the season, with their only loss coming to Georgetown in the nation capital. The Hoyas are ranked number 9 in the country. Meanwhile, Wisconsin just snapped a 5-game winless streak. With a win over IUPUI, their record stands at 2-2-3. That game, again, is tonight. That'll do it for sports, and we'll be right back to the Center County Report.
The Milesburg Baptist Church will celebrate its 190th birthday tomorrow. The church opened in 1822, just 9 years after the borough received its charter. Festivities will begin at 6:30 p.m. tomorrow, when visitors can enjoy refreshments and learn about the church's rich history. Darwin J. Gorman told us on Sunday morning, 10:45 a.m., Mass will celebrate the milestone, as well as several of the members of the congregation who have been with the church for more than 60 years.
My wife's one of them. She's been here. There's 7 of them that have been here for 60 years, and we have 3 more members that have probably between 70 and 75 years, but they're not active at this time.
Pastors and members have been invited back for the special event. Anyone in the community is welcome to attend.
And that's all for the Center County Report. For more news, head to our website, centercountyreport.com.
You can also follow us on Twitter at Center County REP, and check us out on Facebook too. Have a great day.